What's up, everybody? Today is Saturday, April 25th, 2026. Cheers. Tonight we are drinking Angel's Envy Limited Released Bottled in Bond Cask Strength. Pretty good stuff. So listen, first off, I would like to say to that guy right there, happy 81st birthday. You would have been 81 if you were still alive today. Happy birthday to you, Dad. Today is also LaDawn and I's 28th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to you, sweetheart. I know that you are one of the faithful watching and listening to every word that I have to say. So not really, this isn't going to be a full-length episode because there is some change taking place. I need to completely do this a lot different than how I've been doing this up to this point. I'm not trying to short anybody on anything that we've talked about. I'm not trying to get out of talking about data centers. I know that I have alluded to data centers for a very long time. I promise you we're definitely going to be talking about data centers. I'm still reading my books, playing my piano, running my business, etc., and getting a chance to come in here and sit down and talk to the camera for, it's usually about 45 minutes to an hour by the time I'm done with it, actual recording wise. And then I generally go through and filter out a lot of the pauses and the repetitive words, the likes, all those sorts of things. But one of the things that I want to be able to do is provide a precise, concise, educational type stuff. I want to put out content that is entertaining, something that is worth watching, something that's really going to help people understand, what's really taking place, what's going on. And I know that one of the things that I was looking into at the very beginning of all this, that was talking about doing some type of sitting down and recording and putting content out there, was just basically like, sit down and record and put it out there. And so far, that is exactly what I've done. But, between the 45 minutes to an hour to come in here and actually record, and then having to go back through and edit out a lot of different things, even though there are automatic things on Riverside, which is the platform that I'm currently using to put these shows together. There's still other things that I need to go back through to finish editing that. And then when that's all said and done, then I rewatch it. I end up watching the show probably 3 times after it's done before it ever gets uploaded. So you're talking many, many hours spent to put this together in this kind of a format. So It's My Show with Scott Kosek is coming to an end here and now with this particular, whatever you want to call this. But before you go getting all weepy and sappy on me, I promise you I'm still putting together a show. We are just going to call this something different. Again, starting this when we did, how we did, I just decided to throw something there as a placeholder. That's how it became It's My Show with Scott Kosek. For any of you that know me, you know that I'm not some narcissistic, full of himself, prima donna type of a person. So for me to make a show and call it It's My Show with Scott Kosek, it's kind of, I don't know, not me in the least. So we're going to change that. Right now, actually not right now, the title of the show moving forward, the very next thing that I put out will be episode 1 of the new show. And the new show is going to be called Nobody You Know, because my whole goal of doing this is so that other than 25 to 50 people that know me watching this watches this. The things that I talk about are things that we all deal with on a regular basis. We're constantly being bombarded from the left. We're constantly being bombarded from the right, literally and figuratively, politically, spiritually, et cetera, et cetera. And I believe us to be much better than what we take. And I think that more of us are a lot more closely aligned than we are led to believe that we are. I think that so many of us are plugged into different things, and those different things identify with you in certain aspects, and then through that, they can then pull on you to try to get you to lean a certain way about something that you're maybe not too familiar with, or something that you don't necessarily have a specific viewpoint or point of view on. And so, like, I know I've talked about it before on this show where, they can sit there and say that you are a white male, heterosexual, married Christian homeowner, father. So based off of that, they already know like all these different compartments that you put yourself in. And then if they keep force feeding you something that is through the stereotypical avenues that they know that you're generally plugged into, they can kind of force your hand somewhat to have an opinion about something that you would never even normally think about. Over the last couple of years, we've all had different conversations that we've been involved with that, when was the last, before this past year, when was the last time you talked about ICE? Before, the last 5 years, when was the last time you talked, well, I guess 6 years ago now, when was the last time you ever talked about a global pandemic or the world coming to a standstill? Many different things that are constantly in our faces. And I believe at a local micro level, we are a lot more strong and a lot more self-sufficient than we give ourselves credit to be. And that's really what I want to kind of hash out with a lot of different things. So why the name Nobody You Know? Well, I'm hoping that people can start watching my show that really don't know me. And then, for those of you that do know me, I'm nobody. I'm not, and I'm not saying that to be like, I'm down on myself and, I'm nobody. Please feel bad for me. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like we're all nobodies. The people that are in the positions of power and clout that are somebody, most of those people aren't even who they say they are either. That's also one of the avenues I want to hash out in this show. So I'm hoping people that don't know me, that have never watched or listened to me, maybe start getting a chance to watch my show, watch the show, and get a feel for where I'm coming from, just on a grander scale of things. And in that aspect, I will be the nobody to them. And then for all of you, I am the nobody that you know. When we start getting into, I know a lot of different people that I've already talked about on the show are people that you more than likely have never heard of. Jean Baudrillard, or whatever his name is, that wrote the novel Simulacra and Simulation. I definitely have I talk about simulacra on a regular basis. I feel like we totally are living in a simulated reality, not something that is like on a computer somewhere. I don't believe that we live in a computer simulation. Let me take a drink to that. But I do think that a lot of different things are put forward with like presuppositions behind them of what people's reaction and decision making will be from that. So as a window tinter, I'm in people's cars all the time, and something that I've been seeing a lot lately, which honestly drives me a little bit nuts, is these little tiny Jesus figures let me see if I can show you. I don't know if I could show you a picture of what's on my phone for you to get an idea of what I'm talking about. But yeah, you see that little Jesus guy right there? Like, and like I've been seeing him in so many different people's cars over like this past year because it's this new thing. And why that drives me nuts is because it's such a dumb little moniker. It's like, you need a little Jesus in your life. Well, that's not what that means. It doesn't mean that you literally need a literal little Jesus in your life. And I understand that it's just something fun or funny for people to do. I think it's completely irreverent to somebody that you call your Lord and Savior. Here's another one. Somebody had it sitting on the corner of their dash in their car, a different car. But yeah, like I see them all the time. They're like in all my customers' cars. It's like so wild. At any rate, but yeah, like I feel like the places that people are getting these from are places that are already sizing people up based off of a bunch of different boxes that they check, like, white, Christian, married, hetero, blah, 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 blah. And they use that as a means to kind of mold and guide how you'll think about something so that they can utilize that for decision making, policy making, etc. But in the grand scheme of things, it's to have money, power, and control. And the right does that just as well as the left does that. And we don't really have anybody representing us anymore. The days of people representing us, the days of for the people, by the people, is completely behind us. And if you believe anything other than that, then you are completely being a fool. I know that you think your guy is your guy. He doesn't know anything about you. He doesn't know. All he knows is that you fit in a box somewhere, and that box can then be used and utilized to make things happen, which will eventually give that person more money or more control or both. So one of the things that I want to do, talking about, nobody, is kind of twofold when I'm talking about different people. Number one, like Jean Baudrillard is somebody that you've never heard of before. It's some nobody, but there are people that you do know. There's, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, whoever, maybe you know Jeb Bush, maybe you don't. But even those ones that you do know, you don't really know. And so I want to be able to kind of take a look into some people that maybe you think you know, that I'm sure you don't really know. Because at the end of the day, all those guys, they're not about red. They're not about blue. They say that they're about red. They say that they're about blue. They're about green. And on this side of things, I'm really hopeful that we who are truly red and blue can maybe start seeing some shades of purple. Red and blue make purple. Because we're the ones that are going to lose. So before I put together any kind of a next episode, well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. Something that I definitely plan on doing moving forward, doing the new show, the new format or whatever, is that it's going to give me an opportunity to sit here and just do smaller recording clips. I've been working in a program, OBS. It's a video recording program. It's free. It's an awesome program. It's very, very in depth. But it allows me to do a lot of different things, like share my screen with you and show videos and stuff like that on that. So I've been taking the time to go through. I'm starting to take the time to go through and learn some of the nuances to that program, so that so that it ain't just you looking at my old mug sitting here in my Steubenville's studio here. It's going to be hopefully some other kind of an actual show, an actual program for you to watch and enjoy. But yeah, so I want to do different segments. I don't want this to always be gloom and doom. I want to be trying to figure out some kind of ways that are productive or helpful for all of us moving forward. I plan on getting myself a stuffed Eeyore. I've been told many times that I'm like Eeyore. Do you know how depressing it is for the people that you know and love to say that you remind them of Eeyore? Like, Eeyore is like the most downtrodden character throughout any of the different universes. So in the Mickey Mouse universe, Eeyore is like everything's rainy and gloomy. Well, we're going to get ourselves a stuffed Eeyore, and stuffed Eeyore is going to go over on the shelf there somewhere, so that I have a constant visual reminder that there's already an Eeyore in the room. But at the end of the day, I don't want us to be downtrodden and downcast and, oh, it looks like it's going to rain. So it's another reason why I want to switch this up. I've got some funny stories. I've got a funny past. Like, there's so many different things that I've gone through in the past that are just hilarious. I've got tons of stories of the different places that I've worked at. Terry Halls was a gold mine for hilarious stories. But hopefully we'll get around to that at some point in time. I'm going to allude to at least one story from Terry Halls. This guy that was like in the Navy with Terry and was like some kind of a regular customer at Terry's. He came to the shop one day. I was like, "Hey man, watch my dog." And Terry was like, "Dude, what are you talking about? I'm not watching your dog." And he was like, "Dude, I don't have anybody else to watch my dog. It's got to be you." And so, begrudgingly, Terry watched this guy's dog, and it's a pretty funny story. I'm not going to go into it tonight. I'll save it for you. But yeah, I don't know. This life is short. I'm already 50 years old. I believe I'm past halfway. Averages wise, I'm beyond halfway. But the purpose of why I want to talk about the things and the people and the stuff that's going on is because I think that we can do something about it. I think that we can do better. Like, I don't think that we're just going to be forced to sit and take it and just eventually be, the rich elites and all of us poor meager peons. I think the poor, meager peons have been very influential in history if you truly go back through and read a lot of different history. But there is just one thing that there's a quote out of the book The Jungle. I finished reading the book The Jungle a couple weeks ago. I'm into George Orwell's 1984 now, which it's pretty good so far. But there's this quote that really stood out to me in The Jungle, and it kind of goes along with all these different things that I want to talk about. So in chapter 24, there's this quote. It says, "There is one kind of prison where the man is behind bars and everything he desires is outside. And there is another kind where the things are behind the bars and the man is outside." And I think that quote is very telling for where I believe the corporate elites, where I think like the corporate elites, the corporate oligarchy, the conglomerate, multinational entities that exist out there, the BlackRock State Street invested portfolio stuff that's out there, those things really want to develop a system where it is that second half. It is where we are all free to roam, but the things that we want are all going to be behind bars. I think that that's where things are going with the idea of social credit. I know that once something like that ends up being around, it's not going to be advertised or touted as social credit. I think that there is a real effort to make everybody believe that this is completely broken and unfixable, so that when they then roll out what is going to be a data center driven social credit system, that everybody's going to be like, well, you know, the way that we've been doing it is obviously completely broken. So you guys are the smart ones. That's default to you. I would like to remind you that in 2020, there was a whole bunch of us that were very adamantly saying, I know those guys call themselves the experts, but what they're saying really doesn't make too much sense. And it's good that we got past that. I believe that a lot of that was just like a dry run to kind of get an idea of, you know, what kind of things were possible, what kind of roadblocks and obstacles will be in the way of what's going on and what's coming forward, that sort of thing. But yeah, like I said, this will be it for It's My Show with Scott Kosek. Moving forward, I'm going to be recording more compact, more concise, more precise, more well researched and put together bits of information, along with just some silly stuff, some stuff to tell you some of my background, my past, some stories. I will have some other things to deal. I'm going to talk about how everything's broken. That honestly might be a segment of the show that comes up from time to time, because currently everything is broken. I think it's all part of the plan and the design. But yeah, so listen, I don't know. It's by doing this the way that I have up to this point, it's been good. It's really given me an opportunity to get more familiar with putting stuff together, feeling comfortable talking to a camera, that sort of thing. But looking at it realistically, like I have to change this, otherwise I'm not going to be able to provide content on a regular, consistent basis that is meaningful as well as entertaining. Look, I want you to watch. I don't want to just be some boring monotone monologue. You know, everything sucks and these people are evil and wicked, and that's not productive at all. We need to be productive, and I believe we can be productive. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this. So, yeah, from me to you, from It's My Show with Scott Kosek. I appreciate you checking out all the episodes so far. Please be on the lookout for Nobody You Know coming soon. I don't know exactly when that change is going to take place. There's some things that need to change in the background here. Nothing real crazy, nothing like that. But yeah, so please be on the lookout for episode 1. We won't bother with the season this and episode that. It's just going to be episode 1, and hopefully we'll be celebrating someday of episode 500 for Nobody You Know. Until then, I sincerely appreciate you supporting me and supporting this show. I ask that you please support and watch and pay attention to what I have coming forward.